You can do your little sexy voice.
Yes.
Yeah. Hi guys, so welcome to the podcast.
Hey!
Third edition, so I'm pretty excited.
Third edition.
Yeah. I've got the lovely Van Ant over here.
AKA
concert
Vanners.
musician extraordinaire. And the ninja himself, Andy. So
Andy Trieu.
So thank you for being here, guys.
Pleasure.
Yeah.
You are most welcome.
So we're here today to talk about fun jobs. And I thought who better to bring in than the Andy and Van Ant. So tell me a little bit about what you guys have been up to lately.
I just came back from Japan, and before that, Korea, and before that, Tahiti.
Yeah.
Totes jealous.
I was on a couple of cruise ships playing, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit how that kind of works. Like.
Well, I kind of fell into it, and my agent's in the US, and because we're in the 21st century, we can communicate through email, and I've never actually met them.
All right,
which is really cool. And they just sent through and they said, it's your show. I thought it was like playing in the bar every night, being the piano man type person, and that wasn't the case. And so I said, sure, let's give it a shot. And I did, and it's just been awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, now you have
show.
the best job in the world.
I know.
You get to see pretty funky places. I never thought that I'd see Bora Bora before my
Where
wedding.
is Bora Bora?
French Polynesia. Yeah.
Yeah, a friend of mine went on a honeymoon there.
Yeah,
and,
people,
saw some
it's
photos. Fantastic.
You're always
Really?
around
Yeah.
honeymooners, and it's kind of depressing when you're by yourself.
That's the one with the huts are right on the on top of the water.
Yeah, the bungalows
right?
over the water. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I swam with
awesome.
sharks and stingrays and all of that jazz. So it was
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
So talking about some of the awesome parts of your job is traveling, but you were saying some of the tougher parts was being alone, right?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Exactly. Shut up. I make friends.
I'm always seeing posts of you up and you got like a million friends with you.
Yeah, I make friends. It's called Rent a Crowd.
Yeah, true.
You would know all about that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because I couldn't imagine looking at an awesome view and not having a chance to share it with anyone. Hey.
Yeah, it's pretty tough.
Yeah.
It's pretty tough. I get to bring friends along if I want to, but people have their own jobs to do.
Yeah.
So it's hard for them to just go, okay, I'm going to come join you in Tahiti.
But how long do cruises last generally? Like,
I'm only on for a week or 10
okay.
days, depending on what's asked of me. And
Yeah.
during that week, I'm only playing once.
Wow.
So
Wow.
So you get a free holiday every time you play. That's so...
it's like playing for your supper,
Yeah. Except in a classier fashion, you're not rolling out a little rug in front of you.
Yeah. With a little, hat out the front and.
But if
asking
you
for
did do
coins.
that, they'll tip you like thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
Because there's rich people on these cruises.
Sugar daddy, hey.
Yeah.
What about you, Andy?
Well, I work on a kids cooking program called Kitchen Whiz. It's on Saturday at 12 o'clock on Channel Go, which is owned by Channel 9.
Yeah.
I've been doing that for about 4.5 years now and around 476 episodes.
Right.
Whew, just about.
Wow.
Yeah, just about that.
Yeah.
And besides that, I started with SBS, which is a broadcast station here in Australia.
Yeah.
And I work on a show called SBS Pop Asia. And basically, it's a music show, kind of like MTV, kind of like, Channel V, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so, we have a TV show on a Sunday at 9 a.m. on SBS2, and I do a daily radio show. So this feels like I just came from work.
Because you just came from work, essentially, right?
doing a
Straight
radio
came
show,
straight
yeah.
here, so.
But you're
it's been
interviewing
really good
people
fun.
and we're interviewing you. So
Yeah, well,
you're
actually,
on the other
I kind
side.
of feel that
I know.
I'm interviewing you too.
I feel really relaxed now because I'm not a natural interviewer, so I'm an R a lot.
Yeah.
And then as soon as you started speaking, I'm like, oh, actually, yeah, we got this down pat now. Because I know you're in the room, so it's all good.
Yeah.
We're a pro in the room, so it's all good.
Yeah, it's really good fun. It gives you a good opportunity to meet new people, to talk about jobs and stuff like that as well. Interviewing stars like Damn Im, Justice Crew, anyone kind of trending at the moment, like in K-pop, J-pop, and in the Western world.
Yeah. I wanted to talk about awesome jobs, obviously,
Yeah.
and I think you guys sort of represent that topic really well. But I just wanted to sort of know how those kind of jobs come about, because obviously, there's a lot of work behind me. I know in Van Ann's case, like you've been sort of playing piano your whole life, and so and
I think it's we were just discussing this before, that with certain jobs like medicine or law or accounting, you go through your 4 years at university or 6 years or whatever it is, you specialize, you get your piece of paper, you go into an interview, people screen you, and then you climb the ranks, right? But I guess in the music world, and probably in acting and in radio and so on and so forth, there's so many of us, there's so many musicians, there's so many actors. It's like, how do we differentiate ourselves from that, right? So in that respect, we have done our training as well. I started playing piano since I was 1, so literally my whole life. But deciding what my path is, like, am I going to keep practicing 4 to 8 hours a day and keep doing competitions? And there is sort of a mold that you are expected to follow, or that predecessors have mapped out for you. But is it really you? And that definitely wasn't me. So I had to branch out and figure out, look, I love R&B, I love house, I love that sort of music, so I'm going to try and fuse it together and work with producers, DJs and whatnot, beat makers, create my own sounds. Which again, there's predecessors like, back in the day of Yanni and Bond and Vanessa May and that sort of stuff. Yeah. But then create it for the piano and for me. And then building your own, your personality, you have to be your own entity. And then from there, social media, all of that, creating that, hype's not the right word, but creating, a platform, awareness for yourself. Yeah. And then from there, people will just be really open to talking to people and
networking.
Exactly. And not be afraid that they will say no, or they'll be like, oh, sorry, like, or they don't respond even, because that's the hardest bit, the rejection. And it's like going for a casting or going, it's that rejection, but I don't ever look at it as rejection though, because it's like, oh, that wasn't meant to be. And you just go and do it another way. Yeah,
I don't mind the rejection. I think a key around that is to find so many things that you're going at that you can't even remember the rejection. Exactly. Like, for example, if you're going to 5 auditions a week or 6 and doing your own projects on the side and working, obviously you go to one of them, you may or may not get it, but it doesn't matter because you've got so many things going at the same time. And that really helps, I think. Well, how I pretty much started was, obviously, my end goal, like just being honest, is I want to be a movie star, right? When I was 10 years old, actually 6, I was like, I want to be a movie star. No, actually, I'm going to be totally honest. I just wanted to be famous. Yeah. Why? Because as a kid, having an older brother, you feel a lot of insecurities. And basically what you need is validation. And that's why a lot of people want to be famous, because they want to be validated. Yeah. And what better way to get validation is to be than to be famous, to get everyone to love you. Anyway, so that was my little dream. But when I went through acting school as a kid, I wasn't really good at it. Right. But so I left that and did university. I did commerce and Asian studies. But I was doing
how appropriate,
which
right?
is
Studying
really
to be
related.
an Asian? Really?
That's what everyone says. That's why I don't tell anyone. I do Asian studies.
You did Asian studies.
But I did martial arts, and I really wanted to be like Jackie Chan. That's basically it. Yeah. Anyway, there was an opportunity to do a play, like a drama play, and I was like, yeah, I'll totally do it. I'll do some kung fu and stuff. But when I did that first play, that ignited the whole dream back. Right. Yeah. And ever since that day, I said, look, I'm not really good at certain things, but one thing I will do better than everybody else is like I'll work harder. And I think a key factor in landing a really good job, that was about 6 years ago. I said every day I'll send out 5 emails that will get me somewhere. And it was kind of like a game for me. Like, when you're playing a video game and like the more emails you send out and the more you network, the further you get in this game. I treated it exactly like a video game. And so I was like, every day, if you knew someone that knew someone else that was kind of in the industry, I wanted to meet you.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do that every single day. And so I set these goals for myself.
Right.
And after 1 year of doing that, making all these calls out as well, they eventually started to call me back. Because every week I was holding a boom, doing whatever it is just to be involved.
Right.
And when they started calling me back, I was starting to build a small portfolio. And then I got an agent, and then starting to use everything for leverage until eventually you land your first job and then you go from
Tell
there.
me a little bit about how you, you said you found an agent. Is that kind of a difficult thing to do? Or?
Well, I always lived in my own little bubble, as if seeing that everything was
Canberra.
easy. Oh yeah, not just Canberra, but my own career bubble.
Right.
I always thought everything I was doing was almost the end goal.
Right.
So I was like, oh, dude, I've got it was a low end agent, right?
Yeah.
But I was like, dude, I got an agent. yeah. Do you know what I mean?
You got to take the wins,
Yeah, well, that's what I mean.
You'll be miserable forever otherwise. You just kind of
exactly.
Yeah.
But I think that was the key, because I was taking the wins. Like I was always treating as if I was almost in Hollywood.
Yeah.
That gave me so much confidence to keep going.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of actors and other people, I believe, kind of fall down. They're like, I only got one episode of this.
Too hard on themselves, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And being that kind of mindset and working really, really hard, it definitely, I think, can get you further.
Yeah.
But yeah, to what landed
to a
my
certain
first
degree,
agent.
though, I think, because some people do that and then they're kind of like, it gets too hyped up and you're like, what was that?
You buy into your own hype, right?
Yeah.
You gotta check
right?
yourself. You have to check
because
yourself.
it's good to push yourself like that, but at the same time, let's not get ahead of yourselves here.
Yes, yeah, that is a good point,
right?
Too. Yeah. I'm sure that works.
Yeah,
you're right.
Because some people hype it so much, and you're like, oh my god, they're doing so well, and in actual fact, it's sort of like a mask of I'm, It's something small, and they kind of push it to something that really isn't.
I guess so.
It's a fine. I think it's a fine line.
Exactly. As long as you yourself can keep it in check, then that's awesome. Because
but
I even think about that when I post stuff online. I'm like, is this humble bragging, or is this kind of like I'm just trying to figure? Like,
we'll see.
Right.
That's true.
Yeah.
But I always thought, is it going to get me further, or is not posting
exactly
further? I always think of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a really good point too. But I believe what's worse is when you do actually see that you're ahead of yourself and saying that, oh man, I'm really not that good. And that will lead to the downward spiral.
Yeah.
So
it's a kind of a tough thing. I think, you're totally right. You just got to figure out, okay, if it's all about just building awareness so people know what you're about and what you do, and hopefully, opportunities come from that, then I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a fine line, I guess. It's a good
100%.
point. Yeah.
But I think it's all just about hard work and just
100%.
heading in the right direction. But not really seeing it as hard work too, having good competition too, healthy competition. Like someone that you want to work towards or beat.
Yeah.
I mean, this is only in my experience. And the bottom line is everyone's journey is different. Like how I got my agent is not how you'll get your agent, because the journey is different.
I think viewing competition is a really hard word for me. I think I don't like to use that word. Shut up.
I think I like to hang out with people that sort of inspire me to keep going.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's important.
Exactly. People who have that same vision, or you can vibe off and are passionate people, I think are really important. But it's when people see you as competition, or you see them as competition, I don't think that's healthy, because like you said, everyone's an individual, so you shouldn't be comparing yourself to someone. You can aspire to be someone, but you can't be like, okay, well that person is doing that, I'm going to do exactly something like that, because then you're not going to succeed because it's been done.
That's right. Yeah. Well, how I landed the job on Kitchen Whiz was a direct correlation of what I did when I started. I was like, I met that person, that met that person, that met that person a year down the track, and then when I went in for the audition, the guy that was auditioning me was the guy I met when I was doing stupid things on a set. Right. And then we became really good friends. And then so he was casting me.
Right.
And out of all the people, I did it, and he picked me.
Right.
And that led on. And how I got the job on SBS Pop Asia was something that went on from that.
Yeah.
It went on. So
yeah, I've got a few things like that too. Yeah,
of your hard work.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the one thing that I can take from that, and I keep telling myself this, is never burn any bridges.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
Ever. Because you never know when you're going to meet that person again or who that person can lead to.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely think it is a direct response from your hard work in some way or form. Like you're creating leads every day that will point you in that direction. And the more you work hard, like your luck increases.
Yeah.
The chances of landing a job will increase.
Yeah. You guys have the time of your lives that what you know on at work or whatever. But I'm sure there's times where you're just pulling your hair up because there's all this back end stuff that you have to take care of that people aren't necessarily aware of.
I'll
right?
be honest, that's every day for me.
Yeah.
Like I don't doing these kind of things reminds you that what you're doing is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is
I'm sitting in that corner over there looking at the screen going, there's a Bora this guy.
Yeah, doing this is kind of like a validation, but for sure, the work never stops. I don't remember the last time I took a holiday.
But do you have an idea? Come on.
She's on a holiday.
Shut up.
You don't need to.
I kind of understand.
Do you know
your
what I mean?
perspective,
Because if you stop, we are technically self-employed. Well, you're not because SBS and whatnot. But like
I do stuff on the side.
exactly, as an actor or whatever, you're contracted into doing things. But if you stop and you don't keep building yourself and what you want to do and your goals, it's going to stop. No one else is going to do it for you.
Yeah, I think that's the hardest thing, just to stay motivated. And that comes from momentum, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's been, 3 weeks since my last podcast. Yeah. And I've just been caught up in all the other stuff that I need to do. And then I just thought, oh, no, I've got to do this. If I stop, it's not going to happen again. And so I kind of just had to force it. And, yes.
For me, I don't think it's actually the motivation. It's actually finding the time and prioritizing. This is the most important thing. Let's not try and do 15 things at the same time. Let's just focus on 5.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I definitely think it is hard work on a day-to-day basis as well. Like from the outside, it does seem pretty awesome. Yeah. I'm not going to lie. It is pretty good when you sit down and actually think about it. But going in...
From my perspective, it's freaking good.
Yeah. Or writing a TV script, doing interviews with, say, Dami on a day, and then going out and shooting locations. But behind that is I've got to write a TV script or my producer's going to kill me. Yeah. And when she says that, I got in trouble for that last week. Yeah. And so I'm stressed about this. And then I've got to interview Dami. I've got no questions because I'm doing this. And I'm like, no, Dami's going to...
Do you get starstruck when you meet all these people?
I used to, not anymore. Yeah. I used to.
But surely there's someone you're going to get starstruck with.
100%.
Yeah.
But now, not as much anymore.
Yeah.
But definitely, if I saw...
I mean, what's the craziest story?
Ryan Gosling?
If you can talk about it. Did you meet Ryan Gosling?
No.
Oh, right.
I was like, if you met Ryan Gosling, would you be starstruck?
I met Tobey Maguire.
Yeah.
But this was not with SBS Pop Asia.
Can you talk about that? Or?
Yeah, I don't
So what happened? What was that?
So this is kind of related in the story too. I went out and networked with anyone and anything. Object. And stars was definitely a key target for me. So I went out to any event that I could get to. Anyway, I saw Tobey Maguire. I was at Fox Studios. Went up to him. I was like, hey, can I get a photo with you? And he's like, nah, man, maybe later. And I went, okay, this is awkward. So I walked 3 meters away and just stood there because I wasn't sure what to do. And then his wife felt sorry for me or something. Came up, tapped me on the shoulder and was like, come. I was like, what, me? And so I walked over. He's like, yeah, have the photo. I'm like, okay.
Oh, he feels like
I know.
Did you? Right.
And then I spoke to him. I was like, hey, I work on a kid's show too. Your kids should watch it. That kind of just trying to make talk.
Yeah.
But that was a great moment for me because when I got that photo, I was like, this guy has made it and I'm not there, and I'm in the same photo, and that was something enlightening in my head.
Cool. Yeah,
yeah.
I've got a similar story, but not a happy ending. I was 1 year. I was at the Vodafone marquee at down in Melbourne for the Formula One.
Right.
And all these people like Mark Philippoussis and all these kind of guys were there, but I kind of already knew the etiquette. Like if they're talking to someone, you don't go up there and go, "Hey, how are you? I'm a big fan." Like it's kind of considered rude.
Yeah.
So I kind of left everybody alone, and I had some friends and we're hanging out, but it just felt good to be in the same room with, they host the celebrity race, right?
Yeah.
So in their marquee, all the celebrities are there.
Yeah.
And then my hero is Mick Doohan, right?
Yeah.
And I saw him walk past and a couple of times, and I was too shy. I was really young, and I was too shy to sort of say anything. And then I was sitting there towards the end of the race, and he walked past me, and I said, "Mick Doohan," in a really mousy voice because I was so nervous. And he didn't hear me, so I kept walking past, and I just watched him walk past, and oh crap! And then I was going to stand up and go over and speak to him.
Yeah.
And then he sat down with some other people and we're talking to them, and I was kind of just, oh nah, it's kind of cool. I'll just leave it. I kind of let it pass.
Wow.
I never went and spoke to him.
I have no shame when it comes to that.
Yeah.
Like I followed Sam Worthington into the toilet. Sam Worthington's the star of Avatar.
Right.
I followed him into the toilet to speak to him. Say, "Oh, hey man." And then he's just watching. He's like, "Hey man." He walks outside and he was standing there. So I went up to him and kept talking to him. I was like, "Hey man, so do you have any tips for a young actor?" He's like, "Yeah man, just be yourself and blah blah blah." Anyway, so I met him that time, and so when I met him again, he had some other premiere of Drift.
Right.
So I was like, "Cool, he'll remember me." So I came out and he remembered me, and then I got
cool.
again, and then so I met him on another place at the Actor Awards. So I was like, "Cool, he'll remember me even more." And then so I was speaking to him and Lara Bingle, and just like this is on the red carpet. Just talking to him, and he's like, yeah, cool, man. Yeah, I'm gonna go filming soon, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then so the next time I'll meet him, hopefully it'll be much better.
Oh, yeah. I got starstruck at the, when they first launched the Actor.
Yeah. I was there.
I was there. I was shooting.
Oh,
there.
no way.
And I saw Jeffrey Rush, and I'm holding the camera. I'm looking, going, I can't believe that's Jeffrey Rush.
yeah. He's on the screen.
He's right there.
Yeah.
So, it was cool.
Yeah.
I was starstruck.
That was one of the
He's a
biggest
cool guy
ones,
there.
yeah. But definitely, yeah.
Yeah, but I was shooting. I had to sort of maintain professionalism, so I didn't speak to anybody. I kind of just did my thing and then left. And I thought, oh, they're right there, like meters in front of me. couldn't even say hi, but
yeah.
Oh
well. I think the key to everything also is to be thankful. As in, like, just say you got a gig and say Bora Bora. It's like if I quit tomorrow, I can say I've done Bora Bora, I've done this. And that's how I kind of treated it when I started. If I did a short film, I was like, oh, I can tell my kids one day I did a short film. And then, but I was like, oh, how much more can I tell my kids?
Yeah.
That's the game I was kind of playing with myself.
Right. Cool.
And so, yeah, I'm still playing that game today. Yeah.
So what about yourself? Have there any crazy stories on the cruises that you can talk about? Because the cruises are cool, right? Because every time you get on, there's a whole new group of people, right? Is that right?
Exactly. I do meet a lot of great people, like successful business people, entrepreneurs, people who have led big companies. A lot of them are retirees.
Yeah.
So, I will go to dinners with these people and then we chat, and it's always interesting to see how these people have become successful and how they've made their money. Like I was just telling Andy that there was this one guy, he's like a serial cruiser. He does like maybe 200 days out of a year on a cruise ship.
Like a passenger.
Yeah. Passengers, yeah. And I asked him, how did he make his money? And he said, printing. And I'm thinking, what? Printing what? And he goes, well, lots of people drink alcohol. I said, yes, of course. He said, well, we print the stuff on the labels on the bottles.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
But I'm sure
you don't think about that.
Anything, yeah.
You don't think about those jobs. Like, that's a cool, like, it seems very mundane, but that's always going to keep going. Like, if you think Johnny Walker or something like that, it will just, God knows how long that's going to last for.
Yeah.
Like,
I think they're the real entrepreneurs because there's a lot of guys, the new age of entrepreneurs, that think, I'm going to come up with this radical idea and revolutionize something and then make my millions in a couple of years. But there's guys that there's a coat hanger millionaire, or there's a millionaire that make like little connectors for cables and just make like little things, And
so it's cool. You kind of, you meet people who might not have that fame attached to them, but they are so successful in their own right and full of wisdom. You know, and I've actually come out of some of these cruises. I think one person who, you know, I really admired for a long time and still do is, you know, Mao's Last Dancer. Yeah, Lee. I met him on a cruise ship.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Wow, cool.
Yeah, because he was the guest lecturer and I was the guest entertainer.
All right.
And so I heard a whole bunch of like Aussies talking on the back deck, and I walked past. I'm like, "Oh, where are you guys from?" And they said Melbourne, and I said I'm from Sydney. They said, "Yeah, we know. We saw you on the program. You're playing tonight. We're really excited." And I'm like, "What are you guys here for?" They said, "We're here to support the guest lecturer." And I never go to the lectures. Like, they were always on at like 9:30 in the morning or something. Never awake at that time.
Yeah, on a cruise boat.
Yeah, exactly. So I said, "Oh, really? What's the lecturer talking about?" And they said, "Oh, he's a dancer." And I was like, "Oh, really? Cool." And they said, "Yeah, this is his wife, Mary." And I remember, like, it was ballet, right? So I was like, Mary.
Oh, yeah.
You put two together.
Famous story, yeah. So, and I was like May, and in February that year, like 3 months before that, I had watched the movie whilst on another ship because like we were crossing the Tasman and it was so rough. We were told to stay in our rooms and just watch movies and not walk around the ship because it was just like we were entering a cyclone or whatever, a storm or whatever. Yeah. So I'm like, wait a minute, Mary is in... And they said, "Yeah, that's him. He's walking over there." I'm like, "Oh, Mao's Last Dancer. Holy crap, that's him. Like, you were in the movie." Like, that's. And so that, for me, like, that is such an inspiring story, let alone be able to meet the person himself and then hear him recount the story in person.
Wow.
And then get the book and have it signed and then be in touch with him now and meet up.
Yeah.
You know,
so you already read the book obviously before?
Yes, I read the book, I watched the movie, so I knew pretty much a lot of the details, right? And then to hear about, you know, their first daughter who had a cochlear implant. And for her, when I met her, it was like flawless. She spoke so eloquently and she's one of the motivational speakers now.
Wow.
And she tours because it is a magnificent story.
You guys have anything exciting coming up?
My segment on Discovery Channel is coming out.
No way! That documentary thing you've been talking about?
Yeah, so this was my kind of first hosting job, and talk about, you know, your hard work and links from one to the next to the next to the next. Like,
okay.
That just... That came from Facebook and YouTube.
All right, cool. So that producer just approached
producer approached me. I did not go to a casting or anything.
Cool. Yeah.
My YouTube channel was my audition tape.
Yeah.
He just picked through that. And so that comes out across Asia Pacific, including Australia and New Zealand, sometime next month.
Oh, okay. I was wondering what you were filming, and you said documentary. I'm like, oh, that sounds interesting. What's this about? I thought it was about music
it's on music. Yeah.
Okay.
Throughout the Philippines.
Oh, cool.
So it's kind of like, you know, a getaway show where it's travel destinations, but it's exploring it through music.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's sick.
So what? So are they? Does the production involve sort of? Are they following multiple people around, or?
So they're following me. I'm hosting. So I will go and meet all these different music acts around the Philippines.
Right.
So we covered a lot of the Philippines, like from beautiful places like Boracay and Cebu through to like the mountains of Tagaytay through to like the south. So we got to see a nice section of the Philippines, definitely not the whole thing, but highlights of it, and then collaborate with musicians, like a heavy metal band through to an indie pop artist through to one of the dancers from the Philippine All Stars, like the hip hop championship people. Through to, they threw me in and I had to do I can't give too much away, but just threw me into everything they could possibly think of that was very Filipino, and just engage with the people through music as well, and, you know, see what I could input and change. And
that's so cool. Wow. Congratulations.
So that's the exciting thing, and then I'm back in the States developing new albums and rehearsing and writing music. So
okay,
that
cool.
takes me to the end of the year.
Yeah. No more cruises for.
I have one more for this year.
Okay.
Damn.
Yeah, through South Pacific.
Dude, that is
Oh,
awesome.
come on. Honestly,
Honestly,
say no. I'm like, okay.
I totes want your job. Like, I do understand that there's pressure behind performing and stuff.
Yeah, and remember, I'm there all by myself.
Yeah, so there's
I think the hardest thing would be to try and catch up with people, right? Like, because I know it was a
Yeah.
little difficult to get you two to sort of have the same free time to come in here. So
I think it's a real conscious effort to do it.
Yeah.
If you and I consciously do it because it's my time in Sydney is so short, so I make sure that when I do get in that there are a handful of people that I'm just like, okay, we're gonna do this, and I'm really an advocate for one-on-one catch-ups as well, because it's really a catch-up rather than like a big let's all go out, and then you don't really, it's too noisy, you can't catch up with people. So you might see them and wave, but that's it.
Yeah.
What about yourself?
What are you doing for the rest of the year? It's so
my
2 months left.
I'll list my closing tips before I forget, because I was thinking about them.
Full of tips, Andy.
If anything, I would say definitely don't lose sight of your vision. As in, keep it a bubble. It's kind of like when people say, when you have a dream, don't tell many people about the dream because they'll judge that dream.
Yeah.
And you have to keep it close to your heart. And it's definitely the same thing with this. The more people you tell and stuff, the more people are gonna try to ruin your dream and ruin your vision. Throw you off. And that's it. And I would say that. But at the same time, stay in check with yourself to make sure you're in the right direction. And to do that, basically be realistic about building a business plan. Put a list together of the people that you want to work with, and really work every day to move forward in that direction. And then be in check with yourself, saying, do I really want to do this? For example, would I give up this house to do this? Would I give up, this is extreme, my girlfriend to do this, etc. And that's where you know how much you really want to do something, and make sure that's always in check.
I actually don't think that's extreme at all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because a relationship is a massive, massive commitment.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah,
and so I'm not saying you would, but I'm saying that is a very, very reasonable thing to cross someone's mind.
Yeah.
Because how much do you want this? And for the longest of times, I was single because of that reason.
Yeah.
Because you need to be that tunnel vision to get.
And it'll be hard for you anyway, because you hardly ever like in one place at any sort of
exactly
given time period. I
guess. So, but I really appreciated that time of being not in a relationship, because if it wasn't for that, like, I wouldn't have an album. Because I just spent all of my time and my blood, sweat and tears into that. If I had a relationship, it would just have deterred from that.
Right.
Split your focus.
Yeah. It really is. So it's a very reasonable thing to bring up.
Yeah. So just figure out what you would sacrifice. Is it priority number one, or is it a hobby? Is it really just a hobby? And sorry, one more other tip would be always have a balance. For example, either if you're putting too much pressure in one area, if you have a balance, you'll actually work better. For example, if you have a full-time job and doing this as a hobby, you always have that full-time job to fall back on, and to compensate on the, say, rejection and stuff. So a healthy balance is really important to getting you somewhere. So in regards to what I'm doing, I'm still working on SBS Pop Asia. Catch the show, which is on Sunday, 9 a.m. on SBS 2 TV. Or tune in every day on our radio show. You can listen via the free Pop Asia mobile app or online. It's from 5 to 7, and it's called #hits. We get the latest stars in and stuff. I'm doing that. I'm still got Kitchen Whiz on the weekend. That's Saturday, 9 a.m. on Go. I just worked on a TV series called Maximum Choppage, which was for ABC 2, and they'll be out later next year. And aside from that, I'm writing a book, and I'm trying to get my feature film financed to be shot next July. Just
quickly, for those who don't know, in terms of kind of getting funding, because you were talking about the producer offset and all that kind of stuff, like if you could, like, how does that all kind of work?
In regards to...
So it's just getting funding and, like, where, like, the avenues you can go to sort of get money.
Oh, okay. So, for example, if you're making a feature film, one of the things that you should be thinking about is who's in your movie. Having a name attached that will draw in money is always a smart move. Also, looking out for government grants. There's different organizations where you can pitch to. Yeah. And believe it or not, there's people out there that are willing to give you lots of money just to see you do this. Right. Now, if you raise up to $500,000, I believe you get 40% back or something. 40 or 30, it may have gone down. But you get that back. And once you use that money, you can pay back the investors or pay back free people. And because you know that you're going to get 40% back, more people will start investing into this and raising that money. But the cheapest part of the process is the scripting and the casting, and you want to get that really in check, I believe. Yeah. It's the cheapest thing. You can just rub it out if you make a mistake. Cross out having a helicopter in. Yeah. Or something like that. But a lesson is have all the money before you start. And not having money for post is a massive problem. It's because the film won't go out in the due date. Yeah. And freebies only go so far.
iMovie, it's okay. Just
yeah.
You know, I've got to come up with some kind of closing thing.
Yeah, I can help you with
anyway,
that.
I don't know.
I can help you with that.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you guys for coming in. It was great to have you in here and talk about your cool jobs.
Yeah. No worries.
Thanks for having us.
See you guys.
See ya. Bye-bye.